Hey, it's Alex with Tucker. In this video, I want to talk about a great feature of the Rival V2. Now, the Rival V2 came out at the end of 2024, and since then we have sold well over 1,000 of these carts. What has made the V2 Rival so great? Well, that is the DI saver that comes equipped on the Rival V2. So some of the benefits of the Rival V2 with the DI saver is that if you work in an area that has great water quality and you're getting already 10 parts per million or less out of the only, you can switch it to the RO mode and connect your hose reel or your pole tubing directly to the RO, totally bypassing your DI and getting you great water spot-free rinsing from the RO only. Or if you're perhaps working in doing solar panel cleaning and you don't need 10 parts per million, so you're getting a little bit higher than 10, maybe 20, 30 parts per million out of your RO, that is great for solar panel cleaning. So you can also just put it in RO mode only, again, saving on your DI. Another factor, thing that we see with ROs is that after you flush your RO, initially you'll have a higher TDS reading coming out of your RO. So by putting it in an RO mode, you can say let it settle down for 1 to 2 minutes after you flush. You get your TDS meter, you get a reading out of that. You see that that reading has completely settled. Then you know you can then switch it to your DI. And what this will do is save your resin or prolong your resin life because you're sending the best possible RO water into your DI. Another thing that you can use the DI saver is for troubleshooting. Maybe down the road, you're noticing that you're going through your DI more frequently. And so what you can do is get some readings using the TDS meter. So you want to get your TDS reading out of the tap of your water source, get that reading, and then you're going to switch this to RO only mode, get the water, get a reading out of your RO. And if it's reducing 80% or less, that is when it would be appropriate to change your RO, which will help prolong the life of your DI. So now that we talk about the benefits of the DI saver, talk about adding this to your previous version of the Rival, as we do now offer this for sale by itself. So we'll discuss what you'll get and also how to change the insert hub of your previous version of a Rival and add the DI saver. So let me show you what you get. So you'll get the insert hub with the DI saver micro switch already installed and the appropriate fittings. You'll also get a packet of lubricant so you could apply to your O-rings. This will allow for you to insert the hub. And also you'll get plenty of hose because you may need to swap out your hose as this is in a different fittings are in a different position. So you get 10 feet of hose, but you certainly won't need all of this. You can save this for later. Tools that you will need and aren't included, highly recommend having some gloves due to the lubricant. You'll need a 1/2 inch wrench and a 1/2 inch socket and ratchet. Also, you'll need something to cut the hose to the appropriate length. Here I have hose cutters, but any utility knife with a new blade will also do the trick. You just want to make sure you have a straight cut so it fits properly into the fittings. So let's show you how to get this swapped out. So here we have our previous version of the Rival. As you can tell, here's the insert hub that has 2 of these swivel fittings attached. So what we'll need to do is use our socket and our wrench to take off the bolt here. And normally you just need to take off one side and you can just then move the stainless steel clamps out of the way. And another thing to note is that we want to know which hoses go to where. So on all our RO membranes, the off center port, that is your waist, goes to your waistline. So we'll disconnect this fitting, get it out of the way. This one, your center port, is always your going to your DI. So we'll get that over here. This is the one you will need to lengthen the hose on, and you will no longer need this elbow fitting. As you back out the bolt, on the other side, you have the nut. There's also a washer back there, so be mindful that if you just take this off, that you don't drop that washer and end up losing it. So once you take that off, like I said, you can just move this down out of the way. Now, depending on how long this insert hub has been on there, you might need to finagle this. It might be a little hard to get this off, but it should just pop right off with some rocking back and forth. So here I have the new insert hub with the DI saver. Again, we have the packet of Molykote. This is that lubricant that you will want to stick on your O-rings. Additionally, as you can see, this is your RO membrane. This tube that you see here, that's called a permeate tube. You may also want to add lubricant to that. Now, sometimes you'll have, or most of the time, you'll have plenty of lubricant when these were installed in the factory, but it's always a good idea to add a little bit more, because there is also an additional set of O-rings inside here. And what could happen if you don't have that properly lubricated, as you try to force that in there, that could make these dislodge and impede the water flow out of your permeate tube. So by lubricating it, putting a little lubricant in here, it'll help to get this seated properly. So push it down in. Now you can feel free to discard those gloves. Put the stainless steel clamp back on. As you can see here, I had to push it down all the way, so it's not totally seated properly. So you got it like that. And now you can get the clamp back on. Once you have the insert hub on with your DI saver, have that installed, now you can attach the hoses. Again, the port that is on the back, the off-center port, that goes to your waistline. So you can simply reconnect that so that is ready to go. Again, since this is at a different placement, you cannot reutilize the same the hose as is. So what we're going to do with a lot of the models, we did add a check valve. So you just disconnect your check valve, set that aside. Take the hose that comes with your DI saver, connect that in, and then we're going to bring this over here. You want to make sure you give yourself enough hose. And remember, it is important to make sure you have a good straight cut. So it can fit properly. Now that is secured, you've now successfully installed your DI saver onto your rival cart. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. All the contact information will be below. Thank you and have a great day.